Hello all and good day to you. This is Roger, of course, with Grubus Games Unlimited, the creator of Dungeon Crusade, and it is incredibly nice to be back with all you guys for our next video in the Spotlight series. And please forgive my delay in getting back here with you. This loot video, by far, was one of the most complex and time-consuming videos to put together, but I believe it could be one of the best in the series. As you will see, we will be going over many different aspects of the game that involve loot. We will be going over the 193 unique pieces of loot in the game and discussing the 9 different rarities of loot and a bunch of other stuff that I think you'll really enjoy learning about that'll get you even more acclimated to the game and excited for it. First off, I hope everyone is doing great, having an awesome summer, staying safe, and enjoying any games you may be playing. And I'm very happy to announce, as you may already know, that Dungeon Crusade, of course, is in the printing phase of mass production, and I am awaiting some photos and a video from our production manager this week so you can see Dungeon Crusade being printed off. I am very excited about this, and I'm very eager to share this with everyone when I receive it. Also, when the printing of the game concludes, shipping will be happening immediately, so we're almost home free, guys. Also, it is still possible to pre-order our particular edition of Dungeon Crusade and a few add-ons being offered at this time. Feel free to send us a message to the official Dungeon Crusade Facebook page or message me, and I will get you set up with a manual invite into the Dungeon Crusade Pledge Manager. Okay, let's get on with checking out all of the loot your heroes can discover in the land of Avalon. To be completely honest with you, I had to think about how to start off this video. There is a lot to cover when talking about all the loot in the game, so let's start with this. In the creation of Dungeon Crusade and all of the loot, I wanted to make sure that fellow gamers and people had a colossal amount of awesome and unique loot they can discover and equip on their heroes. In the land and dungeons of Avalon, your heroes will find swords, bows, crossbows, staffs, daggers, maces, scepters, hammers, axes, rings, necklaces, gloves, gauntlets, bracers, belts, pauldrons, helmets, chest armor, cloaks, charms, and much more. So while I came up with all the loot, stats, flavor text, and naming all of the loot, it was the truly amazing, talented, and creative team of Sean Ellis and Kesrick Lassen who painted all of the loot in the game. As you can see, these two artists did an outstanding job. So Sean and Kez, if you're watching this, kudos to you, and I greatly thank both of you very much. So let's break down all of the loot in the game into the 9 different rarities. You'll notice colored crystals at the top right of all the loot cards. This will quickly tell you what rarity it is. Also, notice how as we move up in loot, it starts looking more stellar and more elaborate. Here are the hero's starting weapons. This is grade level gear, and there are 12 unique weapons. This is common gear. This is white level gear, and there are 29 unique pieces of gear in this set. Here is uncommon gear. This is green level gear, and there are 29 unique pieces of gear in this set as well. Here is rare gear. This is blue level gear, and there are 29 unique pieces of gear in this set. Here is epic gear. This is purple level gear, and there are 29 unique pieces of gear in this set. Here is legendary gear. This is orange level gear, and there are 29 unique pieces of gear in this set. The next set of gear we're going to see is known as fabled gear. This is gold level gear, and the weapons found in this set belong to the characters in the story I wrote for Dungeon Crusade. These are some of the most powerful weapons in the land of Avalon. There are 10 pieces of fabled gear in the game. The next 6 weapons are known as Underworld artifacts. Underworld artifacts are black level gear and are the most powerful weapons in the game. However, a hero takes a huge risk in wielding one of these evil weapons, as we will be discussing. Finally, there are 20 pieces of junk loot. Don't be surprised if your hero slays a monster and discovers the monster was carrying some old chewed up dice from the House of Chance. You are never guaranteed to find shiny and powerful gear in the dungeons of Avalon. Throughout the Spotlight series, I have discussed how much replayability there is in Dungeon Crusade, and that goes for all of the loot in the game as well. Each time you play Dungeon Crusade and the Avalon Adventure board game, loot will always be changing. Of course, heroes will always be starting with their starting gear, but throughout all the villages, dungeons, crypts, ruins, towers, tombs, and other locations, loot is always randomly generated each game. Let's go back and take a look at a scenario page and zoom in on the section where a player can select how much loot is placed within the blacksmith shop during the setup of a scenario. Notice the colored crystals here. Like we just looked at in the video, there is a white crystal for common gear, a green crystal for uncommon gear, a blue crystal for rare gear, a purple crystal for epic gear, and finally an orange crystal for legendary gear. The values to the right let a player know how many types of that certain loot to populate the blacksmith shop with. Also, notice the 6 difficulties on the bottom. You can modify the amount of loot that will be placed within the blacksmith shop for each entry, or use the random generator game mode where you roll 1d6 and randomize how much loot will populate the blacksmith shop. I'd recommend getting fairly acclimated to Dungeon Crusade before using the random generator game mode though. Lastly, if you notice on the scenario page, just about everything can be randomly generated for a scenario that provides unlimited replayability, as discussed in the other Spotlight videos. Moving to the village board and to the blacksmith shop, from what we just discussed, every game you'll notice that different gear will populate the blacksmith shop. I always find it exciting and interesting to see what will show up in the blacksmith shop from game to game. A quick Crusader tip for you is always try to buy fabled gear when it shows up in the shop. Also, while fabled gear can show up in the blacksmith shop, junk loot and underworld artifacts will never appear in the blacksmith shop. Okay, we are headed into a chamber where Sir Brennus, Lyrena Nightweave, and Enwyn Shadowleaf are combating a level 3 champion monster known as an Elder Priest. Don't be afraid, okay? I am with you. Just relax. Okay, our heroes have ventured into a chamber of the dungeon where a level 3 champion monster resides. We would draw from the level 3 champion deck, and so let's click this. I'm going with this format where I'm just talking over it, so hopefully all this is going to go good. So of course we would draw from the level 3 champion monster deck, and of course we can see that they have encountered an Elder Priest, and this is an elite version. Okay, and to avoid spoilers, the Elder Priest special ability has been blurred out. So bear with me, guys. There's a lot of things I'm switching here to make everything work, but we'll get through this. So what we're going to discuss in this section of the video is the loot roll and the gold roll. This is done after your heroes slay a monster or creature to see if that monster or creature was carrying anything of value. You're going to discover that each monster and creature in the game has a probability of dropping loot and gold. Some monsters and creatures your heroes will encounter have a greater chance of dropping loot and gold, while others the odds are very high, especially the minions in the game. Notice here on the monster card there is a treasure chest with 16 plus, so you can see it here, but we're going to turn the card off in a second. We can just refer to this wheel kind of thing I created. Okay, this is the treasure chest has a 16 plus. This is what's known as a loot roll. Also notice the 9 plus right here. 9 plus and the 200 gold. This is known as the gold roll. What these values represent is the probability of this Elder Priest carrying any loot or gold. So we can take this monster card down. Let me click that. Okay, that's good. So to make a loot roll and a gold roll, a player will roll 1d20. And let's put this up here. Kind of give you a visual representation. Okay, there we go. So to make a loot roll, gold roll, a player rolls the d20 at one time. If the result of the d20 meets or exceeds those values shown on the monster card, that monster was carrying something of value. So let's suppose a player rolled and the result was a 7. So let's put a 7 up here. And right here. Perfect. Okay, that result does not meet or exceed 9 or 16, right? Therefore, the Elder Priest had nothing of value. So let's suppose that the loot roll and gold roll was made, and the result was a 13. That, of course, would mean the Elder Priest had 200 gold on it. So we're going to click on that, and there's your 200 gold. Lastly, let's clear that. Let's suppose the result of the d20 was 19. Okay, that would mean the Elder Priest had 200 gold, right? Turn that on. And a piece of loot on it. So we're going to click on that. See how that works? A player would then collect the 200 gold and would draw the top card from the loot deck. See how that works? And then we're going to turn this off because we're going to look at another monster here. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Okay, so we're going to look at Razorfang. Now he's a guardian in the game. Let's get his card up. This might be hard to see. Whoops, I got to turn that off. Hold on. There we go. This will be hard to see, but I'll tell you what's kind of going on. Looking at Razorfang's monster card, this is one of the guardians of the game. We can see it says ×2 plus 16 for the loot roll and ×2 plus 8 for the gold roll. So we would make 2 separate rolls on the d20. So a hero could possibly obtain 2 pieces of loot and 600 gold, which is pretty good. So my point is guardians have a better chance of carrying more loot and more gold for your heroes. Okay, let's turn off this Razorfang monster card. And this is one of my favorite parts of the game, seeing what a monster or creature was carrying. So let's see what loot this Elder Priest could possibly be carrying. Okay, we're going to have the heroes slay this Elder Priest and see what it could be carrying as far as loot and possibly some gold. For this particular video, we're just going to place the battle tokens and assume each hero landed a hit from the roll of the warfare dice. In the near future, we'll be doing a spotlight video on combat, so stay tuned for that. So with Sir Brennus down here, let's give him the phase 1 battle token on the attack side, and then we'll give Lyrena the phase 2 battle token on the attack side, and then finally Enwyn, we're going to give her the phase 3 battle token on the attack side, and of course the reverse side if a hero is defending. So in phase 1, let's say that the warfare dice were rolled and Sir Brennus landed a hit. So I have there's a marker there for 3 damage. Phase 1, Sir Brennus hits the Elder Priest for 3 damage. So kind of like a little battle report on the side for you. I hope you're enjoying the loot video, by the way. So for phase 2 of combat, we're going to say that Lyrena hits the Elder Priest for 1 damage. There's the damage token for that. Then finally, we're going to the warfare dice were rolled, and for phase 3, Enwyn Shadowleaf hits the Elder Priest for 2 damage. Of course, up here is his health. He had 5. That's 6. And Enwyn lands the killing blow with inflicting 2 damage on the Elder Priest, of course, killing it. Okay, bear with me. I have to do a disclaimer because we're about to see a fantasy death scene. Okay, that was pretty gruesome watching an Elder Priest perish. I do hope there were no small children in the room viewing that most disturbing scene of pure fantasy death. Anyway, now that the heroes have defeated the Elder Priest, it's time to make the loot and gold roll and see if the Elder Priest was carrying anything of value. The D20 is rolled and 19 is the result. So our heroes would of course collect 200 gold and they would get to draw the top card from the loot deck. Drawing the top loot card, the heroes have found the Sword of the Heavens, a very awesome piece of epic gear that can lay down 3 damage. Add +3 to physical warfare rolls, and as a bonus, add +2 towards physical affliction checks. But the Elder Priest could have been carrying just a common piece of gear, like the Troll's Tooth Necklace, which adds +1 to a hero's physical and chaos warfare rolls. However, the Elder Priest could have been carrying a legendary piece of gear, like the Axe of 1000 Deaths, or possibly a rare piece of gear known as the Shield of Divine Fury. And yes, fellow Crusaders, you'll sometimes discover that some monsters and creatures are carrying around a piece of junk loot, like these worn-out adventurer boots. There are no more adventures in those boots, I assure you. Your valiant heroes will not always find some shiny, powerful, and beautiful loot. Your heroes could end up with a piece of worthless junk loot, and I love that about Dungeon Crusade, to be completely candid with you. However, that monster your heroes slay could be carrying an Underworld artifact weapon, like this Mace of the Blood Gods. Underworld artifacts are the most deadly, powerful, and evil weapons in the game, which we will be discussing shortly. So from this example, you can see that every game of Dungeon Crusade you play, you will never know what type of loot a monster or creature is carrying, or even if a monster or creature is carrying any loot at all. The same goes for if they are carrying any gold. Closing out this section, I genuinely love this aspect of the game because you truly don't know what loot or gold is in store for your heroes as they descend into the dungeon to slay the monsters and creatures that reside within. I love this unknown element of the game, and it greatly adds to the excitement and replayability of Dungeon Crusade. Let's take a look at how a hero starts out at the beginning of their adventure. First know, heroes can ascend to level 3 in Dungeon Crusade. Here we can see Sir Brennus's level 1 hero card. Notice around the hero card, I took the time to design a good layout to show you guys what a hero can equip in the game. Heroes in Dungeon Crusade can equip a weapon in each hand, a piece of armor, a ring, a necklace, and finally a charm. If a hero has extra gear or consumables, you can store it under their hero card or wherever you see fit. Consider it like their items are in their backpack. And for gameplay's sake, there's no weight limit you'll have to deal with or be bothered by. So when your hero starts out at level 1, all they will have is their starting weapon. Sir Brennus starts out with a worn longsword, which is noted by his portrait on his hero card. The worn longsword can do 1 damage and has no type of enchantment imbued within it. By purchasing better gear from the blacksmith in the village, possibly finding loot within treasure chests in the dungeon, perhaps getting loot drops from monsters and creatures, and by leveling up heroes, by the time a hero ascends to level 3, they could be decked out in epic and legendary gear. And remember, there's mining and crafting in Dungeon Crusade. So if a hero mines and discovers the proper minerals and precious stones, the blacksmith in the village can craft power gems for the hero to plug into sockets of certain gear for a variety of different enchantments. Closing out this section by showing you what I just showed you, I wanted to get across that in Dungeon Crusade you can build and spec out your heroes the way you see fit. Okay guys, this is one of those videos where I'm just going to talk freely and click on some stuff and have it appear on the screen. And so kind of like we did with the hero cards, and I feel more comfortable with this. But let me tell you, I had to script out a lot of this video. If you saw it already, there's so many panels and images and smaller videos, but hopefully you're enjoying this. So we're going to break down some of the loot cards, gear in the game, but I'm going to keep some of it a surprise for you. So let's get Maheliak's starting weapon here, Primordial Axe. Alright, so let's just click on stuff, and I have some other panels loaded here. So let's start with this. Actually, no, we're going to start with this, the name. So the name of the weapon, Primordial Axe, that's very, that's very simple, you know what that is. So next, of course, this is just like a visual representation of what the weapon looks like. And then we're going to go up to the gem. What class the gear is associated with. So your starting gear, notice that's like a gray gem. Then it goes up to white, which is common. Then green is uncommon. Blue gems are your rare gear. Purple gems are epic gear. And orange gems are your legendary gear, and then the yellow or gold is the fabled gear, and then a black gem is Underworld artifacts, which we will be seeing some of that. Junk loot does not have any gem associated with it. Tier. Notice there's a T1. This is very simple. What tier the gear is within. This is very simple. There's Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Basically, and that's tied to the hero's level. So Tier 1 gear is your starting gear and the common, the white gear. Heroes can equip Tier 1 gear if they're level 1. Which we'll be looking at some Tier 2 and stuff, and possibly Tier 3, I think. Yeah, there's one loaded. So when a hero ascends to level 2, they can equip Tier 2 gear. They're proficient, they're stronger, they know how to use it. It's all about proficiency. And then when you see T3, that's Tier 3. And you already know, right? When heroes are level 3, they can equip Tier 3 gear. Very simple to understand. And that's really all what the T and the values mean. So you're going to go up your type of gear. From that video we just saw, remember how I did the design around the hero card? That's these little icons here, symbols will be here for you. So what type of gear it is, if it's, you know, a weapon, a piece of armor, a charm, a necklace, a ring. So that's really what that is. So this stuff's very, you can see it's not rocket science at all. Damage, of course, this is how much damage the weapon will put out. You know, if your hero doesn't have a weapon equipped, they can't do any damage. And way back, someone asked me, why does it say +1? Because I just wanted it to say +1. And I like it. So, you know, as you go up, you're going to find weapons that do more damage, especially like your fabled gear, and Underworld artifacts are crazy. But we're going to talk about that. Very dangerous weapons to wield. Okay, and then we're going to go over here to Warfare Bonus. This, I'm going to be putting some dice on the screen in a little bit for some other stuff we're looking at. But basically, that's like an enchantment, any kind of bonus to add to warfare rolls. So, you know, Mahaliak is strong in Chaos Warfare. This just tells you there's no bonus that he could add to, you know, this is just a starting weapon for the hero. And then right down here is the flavor text. Like this one, an ancient axe dating back hundreds of years ago. And I wrote 193 pieces of unique flavor text for all the loot. I love loot. Just know that. So that's kind of like, we're going to just keep the same format. We're going to move on, and I'm going to show you some more powerful loot. And so we'll just keep everything on the screen for that, since we already, you know, looked at this and you know what it is. But there's going to be some new stuff I want to show you. Okay, so we are done talking about starting gear, and we're going to skip up. We're going to skip over the white common and green common, and we're going to go to this piece of very awesome rare gear, blue. Remember the gem? Everything is about the same, but we got some new stuff that we're going to discuss on here. Let's start with, I guess we could start right here with, now notice real quick, like the tier, remember I was talking about the tier, the gear is within T2. What level does your hero have to be? Level 2. And of course level 3, but they have to be at least level 2 to wield tier 2 gear. So just wanted to point that out again. Let's go over, how about this, the enchantment warfare bonus. So you can see the Sword of the Fallen, and Sean Ellis painted that. That's so awesome. This does have an enchantment. This you could add +2 to your physical warfare rolls, and those are the red warfare dice. So, you know, if your hero is equipped with this, it can do 2 damage, and you could add +2 to the physical warfare dice. Very simple. Gold, you know, since there's this whole gold and economy in the game, we can see if this is for sale in the Blacksmith shop, that this will cost the hero 600 gold for the Sword of the Fallen. And yes, you can actually sell gear to the Blacksmith. And real quickly, it's of course starting gear and uncommon gear, white, there's no value to sell that. When you get into the uncommon green and blue rare gear, like we're looking at, you can get 100 gold for that. And then with epic purple and legendary orange, the Blacksmith will pay you 200 for that. I am obsessed and OCD about balancing stuff, so trust me guys, this stuff is very balanced. Fabled gear is worth a little bit more in the game, but of course that's all laid out for you. So yes, you can sell gear back to the Blacksmith. And so we talked about that, the gold cost. And let's go up here and talk about sockets. See right here, socket for power gems. We kind of touched on that in that other video. You know, there's mining and crafting in Dungeon Crusade. So when you find the proper minerals and some of the precious stones, you can find a recipe at the Blacksmith shop, and he will craft you a power gem, and you plug it into the socket, so to speak. But basically, if you saw that video from before, you just slide it under your card and then you get that bonus. And I think that was all for this one. I'm going through this, but yeah, I think we talked about that. flavor text, an ancient sword that once belonged to a legendary hero. It's a very awesome weapon. Okay, so we touched on that. Now let's move over to, or wait, was I going to show you something on here? No. Okay, the next one. Now this is a legendary piece of gear. I changed some stuff around on you for this. We can notice, like, first of all, the gold cost of this is 800, and that's what I wanted to show you. I got some dice here. Let's load up some mythical warfare dice, and we'll load up some the arcane warfare dice. Necklaces. There's only a few in the game. Well, there's a good amount in the game, but there's not that much of necklaces. And what's great about necklaces is, notice that this, of course, this is legendary and it's 800 gold. But this can add +5 to your mythical warfare rolls and +5 to your arcane warfare rolls. So this would be great for like Zeke, our wizard in the game, or any character that's pretty good with mythical and arcane warfare. You definitely want to get them a necklace, and you'll find different necklaces in the game. That'll have, like we looked at the Troll's Tooth, that was good with physical and chaos. So when I created all this, you're going to find different mixtures of it. But my point being is that you definitely want to grab necklaces if they're available, because they really do buff up your hero very well. Okay, we talked about that, and again, we'll just touch on again, but the tier, we can see T3. Your hero must be level 3 to equip this legendary piece of gear. And I think that was about it for this one, and we're going to move on to one of the most powerful things in the game. I was making sure I talked to you guys about everything. Okay, I think we did. Okay, fabled gear. A couple things. Everything's about the same with this, but fabled gear. There's 10 pieces of fabled gear, like I said way back in the video, and these are weapons that belong to the characters in the story I wrote for Dungeon Crusade. So Mallory here. This is Mallory's golden bow. Flavor text given to Mallory on her 13th birthday. Her father was Emperor Sylvian, and her mom was Ashara, Emperor Sylvian's wife. So in Fabled Gear, you're going to find Hanno Lithgar. He's a famous hero in Avalon. He has a dagger that you can find. Ren Osis, I think I've talked about her in the Spotlight video. There's an axe. Charcy Sibrai is a high-ranking captain in the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest. There's a piece of gear from her. Father Jova's Staff of Undead. So there's all this fabled gear. But what you're going to notice is, take a look at, the gold cost. Now this is, it's uncommon, but it's got a 600 gold price tag. But this does 2 damage, and you could add, and I think that I get, yes, I think I have, yes, so I have the ranged warfare dice and the spiritual warfare dice. So you could add +3 to your ranged warfare rolls and +3 to your spiritual warfare rolls. This would be great for definitely Enwyn Shadowleaf, the archer, Kane Redfeather, the ranger hero, even the cleric, Faith Eliza. So when you see fabled gear, my point is, it's a little more gold, but it's very well worth it to pick that up and equip it with your heroes, or on one of your heroes rather. So I think that's it for fabled gear. So now get ready, because we are going to talk about the most powerful and evil and deadly weapons in the game, Underworld artifacts. Okay, everyone. Boy, do I have a lot to say about Underworld artifacts. And first of all, I hope you like that little presentation so you could kind of see the 6 Underworld artifacts. And boy, where to start this one off at? First of all, I think this is going to be a controversial thing in this game. And I kind of want to sit back and when people start playing, and I want to see the decisions people make if they're going to use an Underworld artifact. So I think it's going to be interesting. Let's put up a picture of Mace of the Blood Gods. And I wanted to clear everything and start fresh with these because there's a lot I want to discuss. And I mean, I'm excited about these. I think you should be too. It's just going to be interesting, if you're playing solo, if you're playing co-op. And so let's get into it. Well, I just have a lot to say, and I'm excited to talk about it. So, of course, that's the name of the weapon, Mace of the Blood Gods, and you saw the other ones in the presentation. The incredible art, of course, of the Underworld artifact. This one was painted by Kesrick Lassen. Kesrick, I love you. You're incredible. That's just a very brutal weapon, and I love that. The gem, of course, what class it's associated with. It's black. It's the highest level. Type of gear, we already learned about that. Some things are some numbers are out of place. But that's, of course, a weapon. And I know someone's going to ask, yes, you can dual wield Underworld artifacts, but hold that thought, because we got to talk about something. Damage. Oops, that line came up there. I apologize. Oh well. 6 damage. Yes, these weapons are crazy powerful. They can lay down some serious damage, but as we're going to learn, there is a risk. We're going to click on this. Oh, so that line was there. Okay, enchantment warfare bonus to add to warfare rolls. This is, look, that's crazy. That's +8 to spiritual warfare rolls. Those are those orange dice. So that's a huge enchantment. It's a very bad enchantment, though, as you'll learn. And something I don't know if I said before, but flavor text, and in all of the Underworld artifacts have one word, slay. And way back when I was developing this and these weapons, all the other loot has like full lines, and I had wrote some pretty dark things about Underworld artifacts and what each of these weapons were used for. You'll see the sacrificial dagger has the word lust. This has slay. So I had these lines of what they were used for, and I just thought I don't want to really go this dark with Dungeon Crusade. So I removed those lines and I just put one word of what they were used for, and I'll let people's imagination go with that. So I just wanted to say that. So there was, because I thought someone would ask, well, why isn't there a whole line? And that's why I didn't want to, I don't know, I just didn't want to put those on there. Okay, and then next is Fate Roll. Okay, so now we're going to get into Underworld artifacts and what is going to be, it's very interesting. I mean, it's something fun, but Fate Roll is, notice there's a 13 plus. And when your hero, wait, we're going to load everything else because I got to talk about other stuff with this. So down here, Fate Roll instructions, deduct the hero's level from the D20 result. We're going to get to this, guys. Finally, life force cost. Okay, so let's start with what a Fate Roll is. When a hero equips one of these weapons, they can't use it right away, okay? That you have to power these weapons with life force. And if you remember, life force is like XP in Dungeon Crusade, and it's like a pool that all of the heroes can draw from. So, when you complete quests by doing good deeds, by killing monsters, you're doing something good, you're getting life force. So it's something very pure, something very good. So the thing about these Underworld artifacts is these are very, of course, wicked weapons. You have to power these with life force. And that's one of the interesting things. I'm interested to hear what people say, or when they're playing this game, would they wield one of these? Because you have to use something good to put into this, like feed into this evil weapon to use it. But you can do a lot of damage. But hold on, because some people are saying right now, well, yeah, I'll just use it, but there's a cost, and this is what's going to be kind of controversial. Let's go down to this fate roll. So just know, to use a weapon, you have to declare. Say you're about to fight an elder priest, and you have this weapon. Okay, well, you have to declare, okay, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to feed one life force into it to power it up, basically. Okay, after you do that, you have to make a fate roll. And what a fate roll is, you have to roll the d20. And if any result of 13 or higher is rolled, your hero's soul is consumed and they perish. Yes, they can be resurrected, but your hero is immediately dead, and they have to be placed in the resurrection shrine. Now, fate roll instructions, this kind of goes with that. Deduct the hero's level from the d20 result. So let's say that we were playing and I said, I'm going to use this Underworld artifact, and you're screaming, no, Mr. Groovis, don't do it. And I'm like, heck with you, I'm going to use it, and I get killed. Or, no, I'm sorry, I rolled a d20, and 13 comes up. Well, deduct the hero's level from the d20 result. Say I'm level 1. That's 12. Thank God my hero would be safe. Thank the gods of Avalon, rather. My hero's safe. So, as you can see, as your heroes level up, you can deduct more from that result. But that always has to be done when you are going to wield an Underworld artifact. Each time you're going to wield it, you have to feed it one life force. Pretty much you can almost one-shot a lot of low-level monsters with that. Maybe a couple swings, if you land a hit, will take out a Guardian. So that's kind of what a fate roll is. That you have to roll the d20, 13 plus your heroes perish, but you get to lower it by your hero's level. So that's what I think was just interesting about Underworld artifacts, and seeing if people would, use this. You gotta use something good to power it up, but then your hero could perish. And of course there's, detrimental things that could happen from your hero dying. The terror level goes up because the villagers, are scared because they see a hero dead. So there's other stuff, but so that's what Underworld artifacts are. And I think I put it out there before what people would say, and I think some were like, yeah, I'm going to use it, or no, I would not use that, and it already drew controversy, and the game's not even out yet. But I love them, and I guess my take is it would depend on the situation in the dungeon. If you're playing a crazy scenario with like 5 guardians, and yeah, maybe then you would probably want to wield that to try to take these things down. But they're very hard to obtain. That's what I wanted to say. The Blacksmith will never stock this weapon. On Celebration Day, he gets new stock in. So if junk loot or Underworld artifacts show up, it's placed back in the deck. So really, the only way to obtain an Underworld artifact weapon is by a loot drop from a monster, or if you find one in a treasure chest. But they're very hard to come by. And so, guys, that's what an Underworld artifact is. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. But I hope you like that. I hope that it kind of excites you for the game and gets you thinking about it. And I think I'll keep the rest. There's so much loot to talk about, but look how long this video is. But I loved making this one, and hopefully you enjoyed this one. So I'm going to shut this one off and let's wrap it up. Okay, everyone, we are at the end of the loot video finally. I truly hope you enjoyed this. I love hanging out with you guys, and this one was, I think, a really good one. I maybe flubbed up a few things, so please forgive me. These are some old pictures I had when I laid out the 193 pieces of loot in my great room, so enjoy some pictures. I'm going to be back soon. We're going to be talking about the Avalon Adventure board game. But for right now, I'm awaiting those photos and video from the manufacturer. I'm very eager to put that in a video. That will be the next video. So I'm waiting for that. And then I've got to dispatch the monthly Dungeon Crusade Kickstarter update for everyone. But in regards to this video, I hope that this really excites you for the game and you see all the possibilities there is with all of this loot in the game. Okay guys, I'm going to take off here. And again, love you guys. Thank you for all your time, interest, your friendship, your support with the game. And we're almost home free with this thing. So please, everyone, stay safe. Enjoy these summer days we have. And I'm going to be talking to you very soon. Okay, bye-bye.